Hey, welcome back to Score on Business. Remember to check out scorenashville.org. Our next guest is Kris Kelso. Kris is the founder and the owner of the Kelso Group. And Kris, briefly tell us about the Kelso Group.
Sure, Pete. The Kelso Group is a technology and management consulting firm. We primarily work with medium-sized companies on their IT strategy and risk management programs, looking at their technology organization and things like that.
Okay. So, entrepreneurs and small businesses, technology is such a big deal, and unless they are a technology organization, people just don't understand it. And so I'm so glad to have you here today to shed some light on the non-technical folks that are entrepreneurs. So how can a small business leverage technology?
Technology is kind of a double-edged sword because it has enabled us to start and create and grow businesses much more inexpensively than in years past. It's never been easier to start a business.
Right.
And so many businesses can rely on technology, a lot of which is really inexpensive to build and scale. I think technology has also allowed the infrastructure of a business to scale downward, meaning the initial spend is much lower. You can take risks cheaper than you could, say, in more traditional times when every business required a brick and mortar site or every business required some kind of physical assets to get started and get off the ground. So it's a great thing that has helped. It's also a challenge for a lot of folks who are not technical in their nature and their education, or they're not tech savvy, because it's become such a necessity to start and run a business. I mean, there are very few businesses today that don't rely heavily on technology, and it's no longer sort of a luxury or a nice to have. It's become very required for just about any business owner. From the smartphone to the computing platforms to websites and social media. So many of these things, again, are not options. They're required.
They absolutely are. I mean, if a company doesn't have a website, that really hurts the credibility.
Yeah. The nice thing, though, is there are a lot of inexpensive and even in some cases free tools and products, things that entrepreneurs can leverage to get some of the technology taken care of, to experiment cheaply, to fail cheaply, and to recover quickly from mistakes or trials or experiments.
Yeah, so to dig into that a little bit, a business starting, they don't need anything fancy unless they're a technology company. Can they get started with a personal computer?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of businesses are started essentially with just a laptop or a couple of computers. Some people are even able to run a business on a smartphone or a tablet.
The younger people,
they can get by pretty simply, as well as so many of the tools now are online. So they're web-based applications, they're subscription services rather than a big spend that you have to buy something. You can just lease it for as long as you need it. You can give it a trial and that sort of thing. And then there are some tools that are even freely available online.
Well, I'm going to name some different categories of software that companies use, and maybe you can pick and talk about it. Of course, we have to have email.
Yes.
There's social media. There could be a CRM solution. There could be a like QuickBooks or something like that.
Yeah, you need some kind of financial management. And
then social media, which is not a website. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, there are different sets of tools, and every business has a little bit different profile of the technology tools that they need. But several, as you mentioned, are pretty key to any business. Like a financial management package of some kind, an accounting package, really is important to make sure you have your numbers right and your finances right. And a number of the things that you just mentioned, people tend to just drift towards something like Excel or Access to try to clobber all of those needs. But specialized tools really are better suited to serve each of the needs. And a lot of times you can find packages that are integrated together where several tools work in conjunction with one another and share data.
Yeah. And there are a lot of, because of my history, CRM is something that I know that I've been involved with, and there are some phenomenal tools that are low cost, maybe 25 bucks a month, that are really geared for small businesses that you can, you know, these aren't the names that people have heard of, but you can go in and do almost anything.
Absolutely. From CRM to project management, customer relationships, and getting feedback from your customers, simple ticketing systems to just manage issues and incidents and problems that you have. A lot of those tools are available that are web-based, that are mobile-enabled, so you can use them from a phone, you can use them from anywhere. And then not only are you not tied to a computer, but you're not tied to a desk.
Right.
You can really work on the go, and you can run your business in a very mobile fashion, which gives you a lot of flexibility.
Okay, so, you know, businesses need a website. And let's talk for a moment about entrepreneurs or small businesses that are don't have funding. They are bootstrapping it. How to get a decent website?
You know, I think it's important to get a domain name and to have a website that isn't obviously part of a free service where you're a subdomain of some other system. You want to establish a presence online that is truly yours. It's not just a Facebook page. It's not just a Twitter profile. But it's something that you own and control. However, that's still relatively inexpensive. These days, you know, there are web hosting platforms with a WordPress site that can be built on top of it for literally dollars a month, $3, $4, $5. And, you know, on an annual basis, you're talking about, you know, $25 to $50 investment to get a website, and that's not a lot to get your online presence going.
Yeah, and I think some of those web hosting platforms have a that might be what you were just describing with the WordPress, but they have a wizard. I mean, you go and you buy your domain name and crank it up.
They make it really simple to build it online and to incorporate themes. You know, a lot of times you can pay for premium features and add-ons. A lot of online products, they do start free, but then they make their money by offering you additions. And that can seem like a bait and switch to some people because all of a sudden you're having to pay to get the features you want. But it also gives you a lot of flexibility, and you know you're not paying for features you don't need. By choosing which ones to add on, it's really to your benefit.
And you know, the one thing that has kind of struck me, you don't build everything on free. It's great when there are good free solutions, but the good solutions don't necessarily cost a lot.
Well, the one thing you have to remember with free products, especially when they're ad-based products, is when you use a free technology platform, you are not the customer.
Okay.
You are the product.
Right.
And because they're selling you to advertisers. So you have to be a little bit careful to understand that somebody has to pay for it, and the person who pays gets their needs met first.
And Kris, I'm so sorry for interrupting. We are out of time.
All right.
So, hey, we'll be right back. ScoreNashville.org.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.